You're Hollywood was not. Wow. Yeah, and it's milk. Can everyone sit down, please? Please return to your seats, please. Thank you. We'll be starting in just a brief moment. Holly, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear us okay?
Perfect. All right. We will be exiting the indefinite recess at 11:17 p.m. And we are currently still in the discussion of a resolution to propose an increase to the lock-in fee. Nope. No. Oh, yeah, a resolution, no. Oh, yes. A resolution to propose an increase in the lock-in fee for KCSB FM 9.19. There's like a few of them on the agenda. Anyways, in discussion, senators, I'm recognizing any discussion, any comments, considerations, concerns, motions. Senator Iden.
I just kind of want to get my thought behind this. So like in the reallocation process, I'd like with one, I think we need to emphasize that Senate retains the authority to adjust lock-in fees on the ballot language. So should in the future there are organizations who are underspending in the future, you want to outline policies so we can readjust those lock-in fees. In terms of this legislation, so that's always a possibility. In terms of this legislation, I view it as an infrastructural investment in terms of that building space. Say KCSB is unable to afford their rent, we lose that opportunity to expand on business space, because in my mind, I see that as like a future capital project, which would invest in music recording studios, offices, spaces. I don't want to lose the space with Daily Nexus. Stork Tower in general, I would argue that the administration is not touching it because they talked about demoing it for a long time because we have those spaces down there. So that is just kind of my thoughts behind it.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. AS does not have a lot of space. We have Park Hall, we got this area. It's really nice to have a presence on campus, and now it's all within your rights code now, but money has to come. They need money. Money has to come somewhere. And we can't just go, hey, you guys go figure it out. It's not a problem. But it is our problem. To a large extent. Very much our problem. And I understand what McJim said. Radio stations, yeah, they're not very much of this century, but we don't really have any organizations that broadcast music. Music is very important, especially contemporary music, as the system focuses on keeping up with cultural events and the news. And, you might not listen to the radio station, but you read the newsletter. You are impacted by their cultural events. More than just radio station, I think they would say.
Yeah. So yes, radio might be a slowly disappearing form of media, but like I'm pretty sure like KCSB had a campaign of like, the radio is dead. They're pretty aware of it, and like at this point it's their branding. I really understand where we're coming from when we're trying to not approach lock-in fee. I really do. I'm like right there with you. But this is a question of like literally going to front. I think this is valid. If like I've been in that office, I used to work for them. It's literally dripping, falling apart. I would really like this is something that's worth our money and time. And it's not again, if the students want to say no again, like they did 3 years ago, they can. So I just want everyone to keep that in mind. Thank you.
I agree with Senator Iden's point in that we need to like think about the future and the future capital that this can hold. Additionally, I think we have a precedent to set here. Like we voted no on the previous legislation because they had a significant rollover. I think that personally that's what my opinion was. As we can see, there's a demonstrated need in KCSB where they are in deficit. They're like, I think we have a responsibility as elected officials to notice the need in the student body, and like, again, I am very against increasing walk-in fees, I don't think that we should be charging our students more, but when they haven't had a walk-in increase in a very long amount of time that has reflected the changes that they've needed to make, I think this is something that me personally, I can make an exception for, and I think it is our responsibility to give back to the students that elected us.
I agree. On the resolution side.
I didn't hear you that well, but it was just like motion to pass it. Correct, Senator Sue?
Sorry, say that.
Was it just a motion to pass?
Motion about.
Oh, yeah, by handle, or did you?
I just.
Oh. There's been a motion to vote on a resolution to propose an increase to the lock-in fee for KCSB FM 91.9.
And that 9 motion to be a secret ballot.
Motion was amended to vote on a resolution to propose an increase to the lock-in fee for KCSB FM 91.9 via secret ballot. Is there a second? Senator Lankarani?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We are now in discussion. Senator, can I get your last name?
Yeah, Dally.
Dally, Senator
Can
Dally.
I just ask why a secret ballot?
Yeah, of course. We're in discussion.
Consistency. I think it's ridiculous.
We're still in discussion. Senator Dolly,
Call a question.
the question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, the motion has passed. We are now moving into a secret ballot. Please, be quiet, please, respectfully. Can I get some papers? Yeah, I was just about to ask Holly if that's a good idea for Attorney General to be like the second, like, yeah. Maybe. Oh, why don't you do it? Yeah, I can do everything. We're gonna vote for secret ballot, please no talking or side conversation. Excuse me, we're in a secret ballot, though. Please move to your seat. I have a not. Yeah, no, this should be in there. Yeah. And when you have the answers, please hold them up and raise them.
Point of information, who is going to be collecting votes on Zoom now that Holly left?
I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Holly's laptop died.
Me and Attorney General Carlson are gonna be counting.
You wanna use these? Like, okay, we'll do this in secret ballots.
Yeah, we might have more.
We have time.
Thank you. But we still have some more out. Just start collecting them.
Okay,
People are pretty much there.
I'm gonna start from this side and go that way, okay? So. Oh, perfect.
But I'm gonna close this down a little bit so no one sees the people on the. And also people on the Zoom, I know you can see each other, so, oh wait, no, it's secret. Yeah, yeah.
Are there 4 senators online?
Here, let's grab one of these little settings.
Yeah.
I believe there's 3.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. That's what I needed to know.
Marissa,
Yes,
text me.
yeah, I'll text you.
Cause I don't want to.
Yeah, just a minute.
All right, the votes were 17 yes, 4 no, 0 abstentions. The motion passed.
Or you could get it for Jennifer, just for Jennifer. I think on that.
All right.
Yes.
Hey, you. Yeah. For now, keep it. Yeah, moving into a resolution to propose an increased lock-in fee for AS Food Bank. To the first, Senator Ganesh.
Inshallah, this will be the last one after that. I know what we feel about Lucky. After a bunch, I think I got them. They feed people. They need to continue to feed more people. There's an entire, unfortunately, this ran so long that, Crystal, are you still on Zoom?
Yes.
I am.
Yes, I told, let's go. Okay. Thank God. Thank you, Crystal. I'm so sorry. But, yeah, so Food Bank, they do amazing work. We know them. We love them, right? I'm actually gonna let Crystal take it away. Crystal, we're in the resolution to increase the lock-in fee for the food bank. And I'm really just gonna let you take it away because you can say this any better than I can.
Sounds good. Okay, let me just pull up my notes. Okay, well, first I want to thank you all for being here. I apologize that I can't join you all in person. So the AS Food Bank is asking for a fee increase in the upcoming spring election to be added to the ballot. we are asking for an increase of $3.99, which would bring our lock-in fee from $9.01 per quarter to $13. We're seeking this increase due to several reasons. So first of all, as you may have been aware, as if you are someone who purchases food for yourself, food prices are going up across the nation due to tariff increases coming in, but also just general cost of living going up. We also, I know that the Isla Vista Food Co-op closing has been on a lot of your minds, and that is definitely something that we are trying to prepare for, as that is one of, if not the only local place where students can access produce outside of the food bank within walking distance. I also know that the Isla Vista market is planning to heavily reduce their produce offerings, which is already limited. We are also looking for additional money to help us purchase items for our planned refrigeration, including but not limited to meat, eggs, and milk, which we currently don't have the budget for. These renovations for the refrigeration are in the works and will be happening this summer, and the refrigeration will be purchased shortly after, and we already have those funds allocated towards that. The AS Food Bank in last year has expanded more than it ever has. Last year alone, we registered over 6,500 clients, accounting for over 25% of the student population. In that same year, we received over 60,000 unique visits to our main pantry and distributed 221,000 pounds of food. The AS Food Bank helps to mitigate food insecurity as a result of the rising cost of living. As far as the most recent UES survey shows, over 50% of UCSB undergrad students have reported experiencing food insecurity, which is a rise from 43% in 2022. I think that this shines light on the really prevalent issue of food insecurity on our campus. We are also hoping to use this increased lock-in fee to support our special programs, which include our student dependent program, our snack stations, our pop-up pantries, and various other outreach initiatives that we put on to increase engagement, because despite our high levels of engagement last year, there's still clearly a disparity between students that are food insecure and those utilizing our resources. The AS Food Bank has also expanded quite a lot since our last lock-in fee increase. And our expenditures reflect that. We have spent our entire budget and have dipped into rollover each year. We received a substantial rollover, as every other unit did, due to COVID, and we've spent a large sum of it, and the rest of it, as I mentioned before, is being allocated towards renovations. So we don't have that as a cushion. And minimum wage, as we also know, is going up, and there's just more and more demand from our student body. Next year, we also have plans to implement a new software system, and that will allow us to assist clients better and identify dietary restrictions, as well as eligibility for special programs, such as the Students with Dependence program I mentioned, and this will hopefully improve client experience. And I'll end on this for now. The quarterly fee for the AS Food Bank pays for itself in just one visit. If you visited the pantry, you know that you can come once a day that we're open, every single day we're open, and our maximums are set by the items. So some students walk away with over $30 worth of food per visit. Some students just come in for a snack, but that is an option we have. While we are not just a resource for food insecure students, this resource greatly benefits those that are. We encourage all students to come visit us in hopes to reduce stigma and make people feel agency over the space as they pay for it. And the food bank fee increase would help us strengthen our safety net for the student community, especially as we come upon these unprecedented times. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Crystal. So I'd imagine, or I'm gonna even assume that this is gonna be a pretty thorough discussion, as it should, but it completely left my mind that we still have a report, and it is 11:30, so I want you all to keep Crystal's spiel fresh in your mind, but I'm gonna move us into unit reports briefly. And I'm sorry about that.
Make sure.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a chapter says, AJ Council adjustment after the meeting, so.
Oh,
Let's continue.
okay, they're okay to, they're still willing to stay though?
Yeah, that's.
Okay, because we're gonna have to go back to report soon. Okay, still in the discussion. Real quick though, did the authors want a chance to add on, echo anything Crystal said, anything like that? Are you to Senator Philip? Or are you?
Oh, yeah, I guess it's 2 cents. I mean,
Senator, what do you do?
I think specifically that, I feel like what Crystal touched on a little bit as a student, I do think it's pretty much, I think, a pretty extensive and understandable thing of the whole proposition we're discussing about, but just like from all personal experiences, also from being here as well as being a local, as well as being around with the community, as well as the community, honestly, that they have provided me a very specific, I'd say, resource when it came to food. For me, it personally has been quite an individual, not only as a local. I think that not only from my individual point of view, but between students on campus, as well as whatever dietary proportions, I consider that is something that really is really expensive. It helped me support me a lot, especially when my first year on campus, when I couldn't really find the things for food campus. And I think not only me as an individual that is a friendly as a community, as a senator, as well as an individual student on campus, that I think not only my position as a senator, I feel like many people here to that. As we should use our positions to help support things like this, to help people to have more support resources. That not only for my own personal stories, that I know many other students on campus probably have similar situations where they need like to provide the resources that they cannot find at this support. However, dining halls are existing, which is why I feel like that I really was really happy to collaborate at the Crystal office, as well as many other various advisors working against the thing. It was a really informational thing to understand more fully the process of how it is with that work, and to know that I need to provide any assistance or support with that, and as well as give you the opportunity to understand this and help provide a situation, I think is a really great opportunity, as well as something that you guys should also think about with that as well. Not only because it's community, but it's also as a members and yeah, just my 2 cents from all personal experiences. Many of the other people can relate to about that, but I guess it's all. Thank you.
Senator John?
It's back. Everybody loves the back, and you have staff as agenda. So everybody expects that. Up here to the other reaction.
Senator Lake Ronnie?
I know we've been talking a lot about like lock-in fee increases, like being against and being for them. And I understand not wanting to ask the student body for more money because being a student is already expensive, lock-in is expensive. But like just this lock-in fee, just $3 more per student would help a lot. It's like even just like simple Google search, like almost half of the student body of undergraduates alone based in food insecurity. So by adding just like the $3 increase, it's like you're giving $3 to a friend to get a meal. Like, you might not know who's struggling on this campus, like with food insecurity. And everything that Tyler Food Bank stands for, everything that they've done, they do it with such grace, such kindness, such dignity. This lock-in needs to happen regardless how you feel about lock-ins.
That are in
As someone who's used the food bank for 4 years, they're a really great resource. My only like kind of request of the like, I'm not against increasing their lock-in. However, I do think out of most of our units, they have the ability to enterprise better than any others. Like if they start offering paid meal options at a subsidized rate, that definitely allows them to like cut back on these like the need for an increase in lock-in fees. And I also would just like to see them just expanding their services. A lot of the times it's not necessarily like full meals, it's like, you know, rice and beans and like some produce, which is really great, but that's not necessarily like what I myself in need of. Those are more affordable options when I go to the store. It's like actual like meats. Obviously the produce is expensive. For me, it's like protein. That's what I really like to see that. Not against this legislation.
Senator Ganesh.
Motion to pass a resolution to propose an increase to the lock-in fee for AS Food Bank by hand vote.
There's been a motion to pass a
No
resolution
one's calling you anything if you don't.
to propose an increase to the lock-in fee for AS Food Bank by hand vote. Is there a second? Senator Henderson, seconded by Senator Renderson. We're now in discussion. Senator.
Have a question?
The question has been called, is it?
This yields the word vote a resolution, so that we're going to the same problem with secure hand.
Would you like to rescind your,
No.
would you like,
Vote on a resolution.
would you like to rescind your call to question? Yeah,
Point of inquiry.
we're now in discussion. So,
Point of inquiry.
yes,
Isn't
what is
motion
your-
to pass similar? It's the same. Fine, I'll amend. Okay, if I amend it and let's say it has a certain outcome, will it mean it will go into effect? Okay,
I mean, off it, so.
I don't know, Mingjun, where are you bringing this from, Brad? Anyways, Chair, can I amend my, sorry.
Yeah, would you like to amend it to?
Yes, thank you, Chair, sorry. Motion to amend a resolution, whatever is what my motion.
I got it.
So the motion was amended into what?
So motion to vote on a resolution to propose an increase in the lock-in fee for AS Food Bank.
Do the motion to.
No, that's the
No.
amended motion, yeah, it's good,
I got it.
yeah, I got it.
Motion to vote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only change?
That's the.
Okay.
That's the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone would like to second? Seconded by Senator Ja. We're now in discussion. Senator Lankarani.
Call a question.
Question has been called. Is there objection to the call of question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none. Motion passed.
No, hand vote.
Great. Hand vote, right?
Yep.
Yep. Hands up for yeses.
And I can't.
I'm impartial for this.
I'm not gonna kill him. Oh, we all voted.
I have one more person count, so then I can have some.
Oh, say you're the only neutral
Yeah.
party left.
Can you count?
Hands up.
Or yes.
Yeah.
And don't forget online too.
Yes. What's your number?
AC.
Okay. For 21. Yes.
Oh, you're right.
Hands up for no. Hands up for 0 no's. Hands up for abstentions. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. Hey, Crystal, it passed.
Yeah, so No one is here for the unit reports. Moving into old business.
No,
Yes,
Chair, sorry, thank you for recognizing
Senator
me.
Ganesh.
If we have Crystal right now, I would really recommend we move into discussion items for the food bank's proposal.
Okay,
So that Crystal can go home at a normal bedtime.
okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can move into discussion items.
Crystal, do you want to do your presentation? for the-
Please wait to get called on.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, babe.
Moving into discussion items. Food bank budget proposal. Do we have a link to this budget proposal? Do we have access to this budget proposal?
It should The 17th.
Can someone add it to the agenda?
Doing great.
And then, Crystal, whenever you would like. Please feel free to take the floor. While we're getting it added to the agenda.
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and start just to keep you guys hopefully more on track. I realized I never formally introduced myself earlier. My name is Crystal. I am the interim food bank coordinator and I am the staff advisor for the AS Food Bank and the Food Bank Committee. Prior to me taking this position, I was a student worker at the food bank for 2 years and I've been with it through a lot of its growth. Today with me is Gabriella, Gabby from the food bank. I'll give her the chance to introduce herself now.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for letting me join through Zoom. I appreciate the accessibility. And yeah, my name is Gabby Munoz. I am currently the operations coordinator at the food bank. I was here last week, so thanks for having me back. And yeah, I'll hand it back off to Crystal to start.
Great. So our proposal is for the allocation of COG's 2024-2025 budget to fund the AS Food Bank's snack station program. So as you may or may not know, the AS Food Bank maintains multiple snack stations across campus, one of which is located in the MCC study lounge right around you, right behind you guys. And so the AS Food Bank currently helps maintain the snack stations, but it is funded through basic needs. However, that funding is being cut following this fiscal year, and we would like to request for the dissolved funds for COG's budget to help fund this program for the next 2 years. The program was initially proposed and funded by the UCSB Food Security and Basic Needs Task Force to provide readily available food resources to students when they might be meeting with an advisor or other folks on campus, to provide a talking point to introduce students to these food resources on campus. They are also a resource for students to grab snacks between classes, as you may have utilized, or just get students introduced to, as I mentioned, the resources we have. Currently, we have 17 snack stations located across campus. Well, 16 of them are on campus and one of them is off campus at the Pardall Center, where students have access to free and nutritious snacks. This year alone, we've expanded the program to include 2 new locations. And during this quarter, we received over 500 unique visits, though this number is grossly underreported because the sign-in system is self-reported and not like overseen by any staff. So Gabby will talk more about our funding now to give you context on why we're asking for this money.
Yeah, so getting a little bit into the funding history, this program was initially proposed to and funded by UCSB's Food Security and Basic Needs Task Force, and this was to provide readily available food resources to campus, to students on campus when they're meeting with advisors, and just for other additional support across campus. And the purpose of this was to just try to like reduce the stigma of going to the food bank, kind of like get people's foot in the door, and spread the word about our resources. And so funding for this program was most recently renewed by the Food Security and Basic Needs Task Force for the 2022 to 2025 budget cycle. During its first year, for 2022 to 2023, it was approved for the 3-year grant, and the program was maintained by a basic needs intern with the help of the food bank for purchasing and additional restocking and just like maintenance. However, it wasn't funded by the food bank. It was funded by the Food Security and Basic Needs Task Force, at the risk of sounding redundant. However, starting in the 2nd year, Basic Needs fully transferred maintenance, purchasing, and restocking to the food bank, and purchases were again continued through the task force. And this process continued into this fiscal year. However, funding for the snack station was not renewed due to financial restructuring. And so the snack stations were completely cut off, and the Food Security and Basic Needs Task Force was not able to renew funding, or was not able to renew this 3-year grant. And as the food bank currently only financially contributes staffing costs to maintain this program, this financial change would mean that the food bank, we would have to absorb all of these costs. And we're already operating on a stretched budget, so we wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't be realistic for us to maintain this program. And without the supplement of additional funding, we might just have to dissolve the program. And that would mean the loss of, as Crystal mentioned, the 17 locations across campus. However, the $50,300 from Kaja's dissolved budget is enough money to sustain this program for an additional 2 years while we figure out budget restructuring. And if you skip ahead on our proposal to the planned budget and spending, I'm also doing the same. You can see how we plan on using the money based on previous fiscal years. So in 2023 to 2024, we spent about $15,000, a little bit over. And this was just because of changes in Costco's purchasing policy. I talked a little bit about this last week, but we had to stop buying through Costco for a little bit just because they didn't accept our form of payment. And this year, we have spent over the same amount, like almost $16,000 to date, and it's just winter quarter. And so we're on track to use the remaining funds by the end of this year. And all right, projected use. Sorry, I'm skipping. Okay, so the gist of it, I can answer any questions if you have them, is just that this money does fit really well with our projected funds, and we would be able to renew this program for another 2 years. And our staff, it's the opinion of our staff, but also just our patrons at the food bank, that this is a very important service because it doesn't require students to come into the food bank. It doesn't require registration. And I don't know if you've been in class and just like hungry and you need like a little pick me up, but getting a snack shouldn't have to be super hard. It shouldn't, I don't know, you shouldn't have to make a trip all the way to the Arbor for it. And we believe that these snack stations are incredibly beneficial, especially because they do supply nutritious foods for students while they're on campus. And I don't know if I missed anything. Oh, yes, we acknowledge that the original intent of the college budget was to allocate the money towards adding refrigeration into our main pantry, but as Crystal stated in the lock-in fee proposal, we have already earmarked our the rest of our rollover for renovations, which would include refrigeration. And I don't know if I missed anything or if you wanted to add anything, Crystal, but feel free.
No, that's it for me for now, but yeah, we're happy to answer any questions.
So I would like a little clarification. My thought process on this is, so we have about a little over a month, under 2 months for budget preparations. I am personally leaning towards giving funds. Well, I think I already, I believe that this program is sustainable for the remainder of this year. You guys you're getting a 33% increase in your lock-in amount. That goes from, if we're using 20,000 students for 3 quarters, $648,000 to $936,000. I don't see as big of a gain giving you guys this funding for 2 years compared to giving it to an alternative VCU. Again, that's a drop in the bucket at that point when you're at $1 million, not including your goal. So if the program doesn't have funding for the beginning of the year, I'd rather I fund it like that. But if it doesn't, or if it does, I would at this point wait for budget allocations or an alternative program.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, currently we have to stop spending through the grant by April 15th, which means that we're funding the stations from then to the end of the fiscal year. So while we weren't asking for these funds to be used for this fiscal year, just to give you context on that we're already absorbing these funds like outside of what we've allocated. And yeah, we started working on this proposal separate from the lock-in fee increase, and we couldn't really bank that that it would pass through Senate and that it's going to pass through the student body. I'm hopeful. But we have historically supported this program through this grant allocation. And if we were to receive that lock-in fee increase, we would have to still budget that into our operation or our spending. So while I do see that it is a quote unquote drop in the bucket, this amount of money can fund these stations for 2 entire years as we work with the new budget. And as I mentioned, there are a lot of costs that we need that like lock-in fee increase to support. Yeah, Gabby, do you have anything to add?
I think you covered it. Mostly, I think the numbers are the most important part, but I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, this discussion is kind of relative because yes, it relatively it is a drop in the bucket, but I don't know. We included in our proposal the map of the 17 different stations, and I think that that does reach a large amount of the student body. And I don't know, we had plans for our operation costs. We had like a lot of fees that the lock-in fee increase would help cover. And I don't know, I think you covered it, Crystal, but I'm just adding in my 2 cents.
If like this project does receive like funding, if it's like, if there's gonna be any push to like, for the snacks to be targeting like people that are actually like in need of food. So I know that there was a lot of snacks in the Cardinal Center. And I could have just bought myself snacks, but the whole entire day my mouth was operating and they provided us food. And I kind of feel guilty about that because like I have snacks at my dorm. I could have just bought them for myself, and I feel like they could go towards people that probably like, need them more than me. So I was just wondering if like the food bank is gonna like try to like use the snacks like, or if there's gonna be any publicity for them to like go like towards like the people that need them to like help them. Like you said that you wanted to open up and like let people know that there are snacks available if they don't like want to come to the food bank, that these like centers are gonna be available for them. But are they gonna like actually reach the people that need them?
Sure.
Yeah.
So since it's funded through student fees, we can't use the funding to discriminate against any students, so it has to be accessible to all students.
Something I just want to point out. The reason we're here is because in the original proposal to dissolve cottage, we said that we were gonna get the $50,000 thing. But then we changed that, right? So the reason that like spring brought up again is that I brought this conversation up again with the food banks, but we kind of follow through on our initial grant with them. So like this is like going back to a conversation we had a long time ago. So I think we need to consider now, you know, like, are we telling the food bank permanently not to them this $50,000 from the college budget that was now, I think it's unallocated now. I think that's like when we kind of shot it down initially. The reason we did it was because the proposal wasn't specific enough. So I went back to them, said, hey, maybe make it more specific. I talked to Dan about it. Said, yeah, we'll introduce Dan, we'll talk about it. So now we're here. We don't have to do it. I'm just saying like, this is something, this is like following up on things we were talking about earlier, so.
So just to like elaborate on that, like, just when it comes to funding, like, never give any entity the impression that they're going to get that money because that is not any individual's ability to do so. That's the building money to do anything. In terms of this discussion, if the food bank is fully functional until mid-April, and I don't, they just had funding increase, which is in my opinion, like in the past. I prefer to push this back towards the period.
Senator Ganesh.
I just don't want to operate on the assumption that it will pass the lock-in fee increase. And like,
So
I'm still speaking. And we do have an option of like even partially funding. And we can do like a compromise we can reach is that we can agree to fund this snack station for like 1 year. And give them like half the money. Because. And then you can reserve the other half for whatever DCU, the next Senate or us next quarter feels fit. But I definitely think that the food bank came back for this with this proposal because they want to make changes. Last time it was shot down. Valid reasons, they went back, worked on it, and I feel like that's worth something.
I also want to point out, I never gave the impression that they are entitled to this money. It's not my original proposal, so someone else's proposal, I'm just following up. So that they have the ability to talk about it, because we shot it down. I didn't want it to just like disappear into the void, so I specifically followed up with them to kind of follow through on our promise of like, hey, if it's more specific, we never consider it, so that's why.
We have some privilege. Guys, you please enunciate. I'm very sleepy right now, so it will be very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Senator Iden.
yeah, totally not like calling them, you know, just in general. Bouncing back to Senator Ganesh's point, I think an equitable solution would be we kind of partially funded this year. I think we can get an idea in our heads right now. And then we could make a conditional on if the lock-in fee passes, then we'll take the remainder of the funds that they don't need for the project. And if it does, or if it doesn't pass, then they
Senator Shaw.
So we're talking about if the funds not being was passed, well, they still need to catch additional funds. To my understanding, the budget process, so the final budget will be passed somewhere around week 7 or week 8, which means by the time we have to pass the final budget, we'll be already knowing the results of the election. So we'll know if the lock-in fee passed or not. So my recommendation is we don't have to rush to anything. We can just wait until the time comes and we know the results, so we can act accordingly. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Senator Iden.
I agree with that, but I think they did say that they're gonna run out of funding for it by mid-April. So I think a good solution would be to just allocate a certain percentage of funding towards them, and the rest we could kind of keep on standby, whether or not. And like you said, about the project cost is one better idea than they're not doing.
Senator Shaw.
So we're talking about giving cash money to the bank. To my understanding, cash is not operational. I've seen Nash and correct me on that. if they are not even operational, they shouldn't have a budget, that's my position. And I mean, the interview of, we should just give, but have the most influential and service oriented issue of the entire association. Ultimately from cash, so what's needed anyway. And yes.
It's kind of like the same question of like, why not KCSB? Like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of VCs who I don't think have really been communicated this opportunity adequately. And that's, you know, really it's our call. I don't know, I just don't think they're gonna get massively increased next year.
Okay, I feel like before we go back, going in circles, we know food bank does a lot of work, we know the co-op, the food co-op's going out, so there's one less food option. We know that the snack station's also getting defunct if food bank does not choose to continue that. Let's do, and we did give them a lot of increase, so there are like a few pros and few cons. So let's just do the thing where we partially fund them. We don't have to give the entire cash budget. We give, my argument is 50%, but I'm ready to negotiate that. We give them some amount of it, and then we come back to this after during budget delibs, after we know what the result would be of the local fee increase.
Question to Senior Ganesh. So when you say the city should allocate additional funding to food bank? If we have to do it tonight, then let's do it tonight. But the people are just very sleepy, and if we can wait, nice we can do it at which one. But if it's needed right now, then I can draft special language for it.
I would actually want Crystal to answer that, because I'm only a liaison. Chair, if you could ask Crystal.
Did you hear the question?
No, could it be, please, be repeated?
So, what Senator Zha just said was, that if the money, it's like midnight, past midnight. So if you guys really need the money urgently, we can make motion language and pass it right now. However, if you guys are willing to wait, and we definitely want to do the math correctly, if you can wait till the first meeting of next quarter, of like spring quarter, and it will automatically go to that meeting anyway, so we can pass it then. Depending on what your guys' timeline or urgency is, we will do it as you guys want to.
Or since we still have a grant to spend until mid-April, I think that would be all right. But that is, you know, like week 2 of spring quarter.
Crystal, in the meantime, do you think you'd be able to get us an estimate of how much funds you would need to carry you through the rest of the year for that program?
Could you say that one more time? I'm having trouble hearing.
Would you be able to get us an estimate of how much money you would need to carry the program through the rest of the year?
Yes.
Thank you, Crystal.
Of course.
Senator Ganesh.
I just want to reiterate this so Crystal, so I don't misunderstand something and Crystal also understands what it is that we are not denying funding. We are promising to partially fund the program from the COSH. What the partial amount is, we don't know yet. From the COSH budget sometime in the first meeting next quarter. We're not promising anything, but
Yeah, actually, let's do it right now. I'll go look over the figures and let's do it right now.
girl, you.
Please
No.
continue to get called on. Senator Iden.
There's no urgency. Let's do it when we know how much money we need to give them.
They said it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Moving out of discussion into old business. Yes, it's just a Crystal session. Yeah, Crystal and Gabriella, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you guys for staying this late. Thank you for presenting. Really appreciate it. If you can send us that information, within like now to like spring breakish, week one of, um, spring quarter. We really appreciate that, but thank you for putting up with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, good night.
Night.
Talk to you.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Old business. Okay. A bill to amend AS Lobby Corps bylaws. Senator McClintock with us?
No.
No, Senator Soup? Are you? Oh. Senator John?
I move to vote on bills and then as not count bylaws that had votes.
There's been, a motion to vote on a bill to amend the AS Lobby Corps bylaws. Is there a second? Senator Ganesh.
Second.
Second by hand vote. Yeah. Seconded by Senator Ganesh. We're now in discussion. Senator Brennerson,
No question.
the question has been called. Is there an objection to the called question?
That's it.
Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing that motion passes. Please raise your hand for yeses to pass a bill. The bill.
I got 18%. Yes.
21. Noes, please raise your hand. Senator Siddiqui, is your hand raised? No.
Nah, sorry, I forgot to lower it.
Any abstentions? All right. Motion is passed. Moving on to a bill to improve the internal AS operation. Senator Siddiqui?
Yeah, I wanted to ask
Okay.
everyone's permission to table it. It's pretty much done. I don't think there's any further amendments, but I just want to meet with a few more people. But ideally, I want to pass it week one of spring. In terms of the content of the legislation, I spoke on it last time, so if anyone has any further questions, feel free to ask them.
Motion to table.
Motion to table a bill to improve the AS operations. Is there a second? Senator Soup? Seconded by Senator Soup. We're now in discussion. Senator Lankarani. Question has been called. Is there an objection to the called question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion has been passed. Still in old business, a resolution to update Article 6(9) of the association's constitution. Senator Siddiqui or Senator Jha?
I'll yield my time to Senator Zah first.
This bill have been cleared by every single one of the administration sides. Since the city have met, and it's really just common sense. It's that, so to give everyone a brief summary. It outlines the importance of student participation in personalization of AS, as it is a student-run organization. And also allows mandates the prompt hiring of the vacant position. So all in all, it's just a common sense resolution. Everyone has cleared it. There are no legal concern, and it would be great that we have passage to meet the deadline of the spring general election. And yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say, as the second or first on the legislation, that also by passing it today, me and Mingjun talked about it, but we want to do the exact same thing that we're doing for Article 5. We have ran this by all the higher ups and the proper campus authorities, including executive director, Marquez. However, because of the medical leave, like we would like to ideally like pass this week and then see if we can amend it before the final ballot language is approved in a similar deal to Article 5. But like any amendments that we make are going to be very minor at stake because the core of it is very vague and it's been approved by the higher ups. That's all.
So I was talking with Caleb and Attorney General. We're going to need to add yes, no statements to your amendment as well as mine. I have mine written out. Ready. Again. Yeah.
Senator Siddiqui.
Wait, I couldn't hear the last part of the senator's comment. Was he just saying we need to like I need to write the statements now and have them done before the meeting ends?
From my discussion with the Attorney General and Chair Hansen, we need them included in the legislation before they go to UCOP.
Senator Siddiqui.
I just had my hand raised.
Oh, okay, no, sorry. Senator John.
Yes, also against curiosity, since that's also our legislation, it's the our objective is that to summarize it. Shouldn't a third party independent partial do it? Yes.
Real quick, I need to use the bathroom. Can I use the chairship to you briefly? Okay,
So that's it.
I'm gonna yield the chairship real quick to Senator Jean. As I use the bathroom.
Yes, so that
Can we just grant elections more the authority to make the changes to the ballot in time as necessary? Because I don't see any reason for UCOP to be deliver the yes, no statements.
that's also I guess it's something chair.
You can provide information. You should provide.
Yes. So my recommendation is that we should pass that to the Attorney General's office, since they have the best personnel and the expertise.
I mean, can you speak up a little bit, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My recommendation is that we should entrust that task to the Office of Attorney General. They have most results, they have most people, and they are all are great. But it's eventually a decision of the Senate. One more hand raised. Just wait.
Dan, let me know what you think about just passing this, and then we could kind of just deal with it later, either giving elections for the authority or just doing a really quick even vote. I'd rather not just.
Yeah, so right.
Just for information purpose, Senator DJ and I are working on the yes no statement as we speak. Probably 10 minutes. Give or take. Yeah, share your badge, see you back here.
Speaking. No one?
Yes, ask me.
Senator
Let's do it, that's, it's nothing.
Senator Iden.
So we need to, add the yes statements. Legislation for day break fairs, would it be possible to move back into the act allocation?
It's over Article 10. It was, I did a motion to add on the agenda. Wasn't actually added.
And it was in new business. Okay, thank you for letting me know. We'll go back to that. After this. So. You're saying to enter back into new business, Senator Iden, and open the active allocation act?
Yes.
Are we allowed to do that if it's already passed? Senator John?
Yeah, we can consider it, but it will be right to have this motion.
Okay, Senator. Senator Josh? And Michelle.
Active allocation. I don't know what you need to spend that. I move to reconsider active allocation act.
There's been a motion to reconsider the active allocation act. Is there a second? Senator Soup, seconded by Senator Soup for now in discussion. Senator Iden. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Is there an objection to consent? Seeing none, motion passes. We're in new business. Active allocation act. Senator Iden.
Motion to open active allocation.
There's been a motion to open the active allocation act. Is there a second? Senator Ganesh? Second. Seconded by Senator Ganesh for now in discussion. Senator Kadah? Question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, the motion is passed, and now the active allocation act is now open. Senator Iden.
All right, let's get this. Motion to amend the Active Allocation Act following section 4, carry forward to state. Therefore, let it be resolved by the Associated Students in the 75th Senate assembled. The following text will be appended to the spring 25 general election ballot for review and election by the UCSB campus body. Definition of a carry forward fund. A carry forward fund refers to unspent money from a previous budget cycle that is carried over into the next fiscal period rather than expiring at the end of the year. These funds can be allocated for future use, typically for specific purposes or long-term projects, rather than being lost or reabsorbed into a general budget. Do you support amending Article 5 of the Constitution to include a carry forward section allowing the Senate to move lock-in carry forward funds, ensuring unspent money from previous budget cycles can be allocated for future use rather than that's the wrong one. Yeah. Hold on. Damn it. That is such a bummer. Holy shit.
Okay. Should we, let's go into, I think we should go back to the other, yeah. Senator John.
I vote to close.
The active allocation act.
Yes.
There's been a motion to close the active allocation act. Is there a second? Senator Dolly. Seconded by Senator Dolly. We're now in discussion. Senator Brinderson.
No question.
The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call of question? Consent. Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. No worries though. We're all right. Senator Persandi, what was the name of your
It's a resolution to update Article 10 of the Associated.
Right, but it was never added. Senator Martinez, can you add this to the agenda? A resolution to update. I did it. Okay, we're in new business, a resolution to update Article 10, the Associated Students Constitution. To be first, Senator Criscendi.
Okay, I'm adding the guest note statements from the winter special, like, basically, I'm just bringing this back, like, we already discussed it, I'm just bringing it back, because I kind of expected that to be low voter turnout, like, we tried, but it's okay. If you guys have any other, if you guys have thought about it a little bit more, and like, have anything else to say about it, let me know, but, yeah, still planning on, like, adding specifications in the bylaws. But, same old deal. Yeah. I'm adding the guest notes.
Did I agree to that here? Okay, cool, we're in discussion. Accepting any motions. Senator Mean?
Thank you. Sorry, motion. So vote on the, sorry. Motion to vote on a resolution to update Article 10 of the Associated Students Constitution.
There's been a motion to vote on a resolution to update Article 10 of the Associated Students Constitution. Is there a second? Senator Brenderson. Seconded by Senator Brenderson. We're now in discussion. Senator Lankarani. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none. We have to handle. Yeah, cool. Raise your hands for yeses. Raise them high. Inside. Can you raise them high, please? Sorry, it's late, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
Oh.
My number has changed every single time.
Oh.
Tell me that.
I think the same.
Yeah, because it went from, okay,
Maybe the same.
no, no. Raise your hand high, because every single time we've gotten different numbers.
Wait, so
One.
yes?
Yes.
Or yes, 1, 2. This is yes, Senator Iden. On the article. Okay. Thank you. 11 yeses. No, 14. 14.
Okay.
Yeah. Hands up for no's, please. Two. Abstentions. I'm a pass. 6. It passes. Okay. Cool. Is the active allocation act ready? Senator King?
Sure, we do that, and I have some money.
What part is inactive, action items? Yeah, yep, let's move into action items, or would you like to add, motion to add something onto action items? Yes,
Finance, budget deliberations.
Motion or moving into action items. Senator Singh,
Motion to allocate $1,000 for finance committee budget deliberations. Monday.
there's been a motion to allocate $1,000 for the finance committee budget deliberations on Monday, 3/10. By Senator Singh, is there a second? Senator Lankarani?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani, we're now in discussion. Remind me, please. Chargery, yep, Senator Chowdhury. The question has been called,
Thank you, ma'am.
yeah. What would you like to amend your motion to? What would you like to amend your motion to?
I would just like to add the finance committee.
Okay, go ahead. Could you rescind your call to question, Senator Chaudhry? To say rescind. I rescind my call to question. Okay, cool.
I rescind my motion. Then
Motion.
motion to allocate $1,000 to finance committee budget deliberations. 3/10 from 7 to 9.
There's been a motion to allocate $1,000 for the, finance committee budget deliberation on Monday, 3/10 from Senate unallocated. Is there a second, Senator Lankarani? Seconded by Senator Lankarani, we're now in discussion. Senator Chaudhry. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Dahl?
Also, I haven't got a sending committee assignments. I talked with the chair and the chair of, I have it IVP and chair set of the finance committee and I'd like to be assigned to the finance committee. Both of them have been great, but we forgot to get an agenda, so I'm making a motion on it. Yes.
In what? In, appointments?
Appointments, yes.
Yeah, okay, moving into appointments, Senator Jha.
I move to merge the agenda and add me to chair as a general member to the city finance committee under appointment.
Okay. There's been a motion, to amend the agenda and add Ming Jin Zha as general member to Senate Finance Committee under appointments. Is there a second?
We just generally speak up, because the vending machine's really loud and I can't hear anything.
Yes, yes.
It's very,
Yeah. The chair has great. Trust me. I would say.
Is there a second? Senator Brennerson? Seconded by Senator Brennerson. We're now in discussion. Senator Singh? The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Yes.
motion to agenda and add Mohammed Chaudhry as general member to the Senate finance committee.
There's been a motion to amend the agenda and add, Senator Chaudhry as general member, correct? Yeah, as general member to the Senate Finance Committee. Is there a second? Senator Lankarani?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We're now in discussion. Senator Brennerson? The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Huh?
Is it?
Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. And that was approved. That by the chair, finance, that appointment was approved by the chair. No. Yeah, moving into old business. Senator Jha.
To adopt the to written amendments to a resolution to update Article 9 of the Second Amendment Constitution.
There's been a motion to adopt a resolution to update Article 9 of the Associated Students Constitution. Is there a second? Senator Brenderson, seconded by Senator Brenderson. We are now in discussion. Senator Iden,
Written amendment, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Yeah.
Senator Shaw, sorry.
So if you're open to motion to which is references, you will say our yes no statement is
Now we're still in discussion. Senator Shaw,
Okay, Chairman, I move to vote on resolution. Resolution is update action that of the Second Constitution motion to that.
Want to make, please speak up. I cannot hear you.
I move to.
oh, wait. We're in a discussion to add it to the agenda, or, yeah, to adopt. Please wait till you get called on before you speak. Senator John. Question. We're in discussion, Senator Ganesh. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call of question? Consent. Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Okay, we've adopted it. Which basically. So now we have the updated, we've adopted the updated version. In discussion still on the updated version. Senator Shaw.
I move to vote on resolution update.
Point of order.
Wait, there's been a, sorry, there's been a point of order, yes?
I'm sorry. Can we rescind this motion? We need to amend the language because in the yes statement it says personal decisions instead of personnel. I feel like that's a significant error.
Can you restate that, Senator Siddiqui?
Yeah, in the yes statement that Senator Zaw added, it says personal decisions instead of personnel. So I was just gonna ask if Senator Zaw could withdraw his motion, but I don't know if he can do that since it already passed. So that like we could go back and correct the.
Right.
Chair, it's
Yes.
a good faith error. It's a good faith error. Please just make the fix and proceed with the motion.
Correct.
Good. Thank you, AG.
And fix as a good faith error. Thank you.
Is the error getting fixed, Senator Iden? Recognize.
This is the issue we had with Hanson earlier about the yes, no language. I'll guarantee you Hanson is gonna request these change. It's not explaining the actual like legislation, it's just explaining the change. The change would be like provide legislation. It'll amend this to say that's not what the amendments actually. Like it doesn't need super detail, because I remember Hanson got out of this from last week.
Did you call on me?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Did you have anything to add before I move forward?
I mean, personally, I don't have a problem with the elections board drafting the yes or no statements. I mean, yeah, I guess that's it.
Someone like to make a motion? Or I'm gonna move on. Senator Shaw,
Since I didn't just graciously share with me a template about the Eastern statements. So without that template, just maybe minutes.
so we're not in any motions, correct? No, no discussion. Anyways, I'm gonna move on out of old business into unit reports. Would you like to give a report? Oh my goodness, that'd be excellent. Remember I told you all about the report that we were waiting on? Yeah, and you're representing the JC, correct? Yeah. All right, perfect. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll make this brief, y'all. Thank you so much for hearing me out. Essentially, I just want to go over some of the stats we've been going through the past quarter. Again, sorry if I'm not coherent, it's quite late and I haven't slept in a few days, but I'll try my best to walk in, as I'm sure all of you are also tired. So first and foremost, throughout the past quarter, we've been hosting weekly office hours to increase like our base time of people that might need to talk to us. Obviously, all information posted on our website as well. We hear all cases and respond to all inquiries within 24 hours, which is well under our 3-day time frame listed within the legal code. Just for the sake of like making it as fast and efficient as possible and ensuring that people can like hear back on things as fast as possible. Also hosting obviously our weekly meetings as stated within the legal code, and then additionally bi-weekly meetings to our advisor to ensure that all the knowledge that she has is being passed down to our org. We've noticed like in past years, a lot of the issues were kind of mainly resolved between the advisor and the chair, so we're trying to fix that issue moving forward. And then lastly, ensure that all VCUs and AS entities have an understanding of our mission and our reach within the legal code. We've noticed a lot in like the past, specifically in my time within JC, which is like 3 years, that a lot of times we get inquiries that have like nothing to do with what we're able to do within the legal code. So just kind of ensuring that that's been clarified. Moving forward towards spring quarter, we're just working to process any like election issues or cases as they arise. Coordinate with election board to streamline communication if and when that does happen. And then finalize the ASJC website. I don't know if any of you had the pleasure of opening it, but it looks like it was genuinely made in like 2010. So we're kind of working on not having that. Yeah. And lastly, finalizing some templates for injunction responses and honorary appeals, which is something that historically was never really done. It was kind of up to the discretion of each individual chair. However, like my personal opinion as chair is that I feel like that's kind of like an inefficient use of our time. So we're just trying to have more standardized template that can be passed on from year to year. And that's kind of all I had for y'all. Any questions for me before I leave?
Thank you so much. Oh, Senator Ganesh?
If you have the subject to answer, could you tell us what are the cases that come to you that you actually do not have an ability to go? Sorry, can you repeat that last one? Like, you know how you said that sometimes people come to you and like, you technically cannot help them?
Yes.
What kind of cases would those be?
So it's not, let me clarify, it's not essentially that it's cases that we can't respond to, because sometimes it might be like an inquiry that's not within the legal code and there's nothing for us to go off of. But however, what's more common is someone will just email me or email somebody on to council and say, hey, here's a problem I'm having, help us solve it, as opposed to formally filing a petition for a hearing or petition for an injunction, as stated in both legal code and explicitly on our website. So it's more just about making sure we're going through the correct channels so that people can get the responses they need and get their issues adjudicated.
Thank you. Thank you for staying up late with us. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna move back into old business right now until they're finished with that, but while we wait, I think we should do minutes and allocations. Senator Ronnie?
Motion to reject scores February 27th, minutes for incomplete motions.
There's been a motion to reject scores February 27th minutes due to incomplete motions. Is there a second? Senator Martinez? Second. Seconded by Senator Martinez. We're in discussion now. Senator Lawler.
All question.
The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question?
Objection. I just want some clarification on why we're rejecting, so I can tell school to fix it.
It just says on the agenda, is that?
Please wait to get recognized. Senator Lincoln.
It just says on the agenda, that they had incomplete motions, so like, just talk to them about.
Since, we're referring to scores, 227 minutes, I'd love to invite everybody to go into the to be approved folder and pull up the 227 minutes of score. Is this the? And then we can discuss the matter as it's in front of us. Senator Singh.
We go there from seven.
Yep.
We're going to D, discussion item D, it says a motion to approve 1,000. Then was first and second, it's just first and second.
Right.
That's definition. I think it is appropriate for us to reject it.
Rescind your objection. All right, cool. We're in this. Nope. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call question? Senator Singh?
It's something, well, Steve Jackson appointment is agenda for today, but on the minutes, it says C1 chair, mine. Let's go on 27th of February. That's interesting.
Senator, I'm Ganesh.
I would say that we move into closed session or something like that, to discuss this, or we talk about it in metaphors, I don't give a fuck. But like, you know, find a way.
Okay, so. Right, we still have not rejected the motion yet. And we're in discuss, or actually the question has been called. Consent. Right. Is there an objection to the consent? Okay. Do we vote on hand vote for this? To reject the minutes?
That's issue.
Yeah, okay, for the minutes. Let's vote for hand vote too, and what we're voting on right now is the motion to reject the minutes of, scores February 27th meeting. That's what we're voting right now. Okay, hands up for yes. Hands up for yes.
Voting to reject scores.
I have 23. 23 yeses. Hands up for no. 0. Any abstentions? Okay, cool. Motion passes. We're still in minutes and allocations. Senator Linkarani.
Motion to reject the IVCRC March 4th minutes from the to be approved AS minutes folder.
Okay. And as I'm recognizing that motion, I do aid you all to go and pull up those minutes in that folder. But there's been a motion to reject the IVCRC March 3rd minutes from the to be. Yeah, March 4th? Yeah. March 4th minutes from the to be approved folder. Is there a second? Senator Singh?
I just like your motion and just overturn that particular motion and you have an issue with it because we overturned the entire.
Perfect, okay.
And that would mean that every single other request.
May I make that motion? I would like to motion to, so it would be just like, yeah. I would, sorry, so. Thank you so much.
Wait, what are you are you trying to, reject their minutes?
I'm trying to reject, one of their action items.
Wait, we're looking for IBCRC. Wait, Carly, I'm still looking.
Please wait to join. Thank you.
Sorry, sir.
Senator Ganesh?
Which folder? I can't find it.
Okay. Hold on. All right, I got it.
Please wait to get Senator Lankarani.
Motion to overturn the motion for IBCRC to approve $32,550 for membership bought by Shabbat at UCSB.
Can you, right. Can you,
I'll take that.
I'll add the motion.
Point of inquiry.
Yeah,
And someone please tell me where this in minute.
it's in the
It's not
to be
named
approved folder.
eight, and it's a given.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Shaw?
Question to Senator Ronnie, could you please? Sorry, I pronounce it. A question to Senator Ronnie, could you please elaborate your reason to do so?
And also, can you repeat the motion like 2 to 3 more times so we can get it on the agenda?
Well, you could just send it to me.
It's just.
Wait, no, I'm confused. I'm not the one that made the motion.
Excuse me,
Oh, I found it.
I haven't recognized any of you while I'm speaking. There's been a motion made. What was the motion?
Mine?
A motion to overturn the motion for the IVCRC
To approve $32,550 for membership bought by Chabad at UCSB.
okay. To approve 32,550 for the mega Shabbat. Is there a second? Senator Chaudhry. Seconded by Senator Chaudhry. We're now in discussion. Senator Shaw.
Yes, still my first question to Senator Ronnie. I still have almost 9 votes tonight about the request, about the decision made by PCU. I'm sure you will have your reasoning behind it, and I'd like to hear it.
Yes.
Excuse me, Senator Lankarani.
Thank you, Chair. So Chabad came to Finance Committee requesting $63,845 for this event, and then asking IBCRC for an additional $32K. Feels like a lot of money for a singular event that only is serving about 1,200 people.
Senator Prasandi.
Okay, as someone who has attended this event in the past, I'd like to say this event is not only open to Jewish students, but it is open to the entire community. And the reason why they would like to request this much money is because only 1,200 people is a bit of a stretch in my opinion. Every week at Shabbat gets around 200 visitors. So this is multiplying the attendance of this event, and it requires a lot of moving parts, especially because kosher food is very expensive. So that is part of the reason. I mean, they have like everything listed out here, but it says going for around 1,200 people. Will be inviting everyone in Santa Barbara, I live in Stiglita, and also, you know, security, waiters, kosher food, like I mentioned. So it is, there's a lot of more moving parts. We can look in the precedent of how much they have been accepted for in the past. And it is around this number, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, our funding, like Chabad doesn't get funding from elsewhere. Most of our funding is from AS. And if you have any other questions, I'd like to, but in my opinion.
Senator Iden.
I don't necessarily think like the Senate in the scenario should be concerned with like the justifications for the event, and what it is, it's like in terms of like the committees, like it's their prerogative to give them funding in a way kind of like an overstep for us to kind of step in. So it's like obviously like I have issues with like certain things that are on my phone rep to be, but you know, that's this committee, they've been delegating that responsibility to that funding. That's kind of where I'm at with that. And CRC had you know, 100 reasons.
Senator Singh?
Yeah, so as Chair of Finance, I'm not taking a side at all. I just want to add some bit more context. This group has come to my committee the past years multiple times. And they request around the same amount of money. If I remember correctly, last year they did request about $20,000 less. I could be wrong, but I'm going to double check the minutes for that as well. Regarding other requests like this, big requests, and we do get a lot of big requests in my committee. Like for example, it's Ramadan right now. We have the association request money for iftar. That was it served about 200 people a day, and we gave them about 6,000 per day. Just to give better context on how we usually fund these things. If you make it out, do the calculations, like 95,000 for 1,200 people, that's $80 per person. This provides context for people. But yeah,
Senator Chair, I want to echo the points made by Senator Adam. None of us, with the exception of our Finance Committee, have listened to the presentation provided by that organization. None of us have the expertise in dealing with student funding. And that's the reason Senate have delegated those authority to FNB FACSA. To my knowledge, I've been in AS for 3 years and always been in Senate. That's the first time Senate is going to touch the substance issue of the BCU's funding decision. Of course, we have rejected BCU's decision based on procedure, for instance, with SCOP, but never on substance. My second question is, Chair David Junior Singh, whom I know very well, is an excellent individual. He came to the Senate to report on FACSA. My question is, why aren't those concerns raised back then, so there can be a conversation? I guess the question is directed to Senator Lekarani.
Attorney?
Yeah, so I just looked up past minutes. Last year, we committee funded them about 32,000. And I would also like to remind everybody that the chair of IBCRC is David Junior Singh. He is the chief compliance officer for the association as well. Very smart man, and I do have the trust in him that he makes good financial decisions. Like I said, I'm not taking any sides. I cannot take any sides. I'm providing information so the Senate can make an informed decision. All I'm saying is that we've had requests, in the past requests, we funded them less. But at the same time, CCO is a very, very capable man. Can make decisions for his BCU on his own.
Senator Lekarani, did you care to be recognized to answer a question?
I cannot.
Would you like to be recognized to answer the question or no?
I didn't hear the question.
Senator Zhao, would you like to repeat your question?
Yes. So I'll get those. it's
I'm
really
sorry,
nice.
spelling issue is driving me
Yeah,
nuts.
it's really nice. So I have 2 questions. So the first question is, I've been in Senate for 3 years, and to my knowledge, if they do reject FACSA's funding decision, it will be the first time Senate rejects the BCU's funding decision based on substance. So, well, that is not because they have any procedural fault, which happens often in the SCOP, for instance, but because we don't agree with the substance of the decision with that, by listening to the presentation and have to ask the text. So that's my first question. My second question is,
I didn't really understand the first question.
Please wait to get recognized. Continue.
my question is, so my first question is, what's the reason of raising that precedent and stepping to the multi-water of substance issue of funding decision? My second question is, Chair David Junior Singh, who happens to also be our chief compliance officer, have come to Senate presented as the chair every Saturday. Why aren't those concerns raised back then, so there can be a conversation? That's my two questions.
Senator Lincoln.
So to the first question, this is just me looking at like the, just like the cost of things, and like, we've been having a lot of conversations about like, oh, costing, like, where is funding coming for a lot of these events, lock-in fees, stuff like that. So I was just kind of looking through the minutes and seeing that, oh, well, we have like this like $98,000 like event that just, it's not very clear as to where the funding is going, and like like you offered, I would be willing to sit down with you and like see this through, because it's like, and if it really is too much trouble, I can rescind. And the reason I didn't bring it up when we had the IVCRC chair come in was because I was advised by other members of the Senate to wait until we got into minutes and allocations, because this was a minutes issue.
Senator Jones.
Senator Chair, I will just make those recommendations. I will add the next sense. I believe in interest policy. I believe in open dialogue. So if I have three options, I will definitely raise and upgrade the share of IVCRC. But what happens already happens. There's no point discussing those. I guess the final remark I want to make is that as the Senate chooses to deny it, there will be juicy case, there will be positive case, there will be an actual case from actual cut. And Senate has no argument, because but we didn't ask the chair of IVCRC to represent the president. But today is the entirety of the Senate will be in huge trouble, and by extension, associated students. So I really appreciate the sense of the big picture and the job is making. And yes.
Thank you, Senator Present.
I would just like to bring everyone's attention to three things. Number one, there have been many other very expensive finance requests. I'm sure if you look through the minutes of the finance committee, you'll see other $30,000 requests. Not sure why this one is being singled out. Number two, a large portion of this funding, unfortunately, is going to security, because anti-Semitism is very real, and that is something that the law has accounted for, and it's necessary to have security, and unfortunately, that does get expensive. Number three, the funding which is coming from IVCRC Chair David Sim came and gave a presentation, and he said he has, I think the number was 200K that he would like to spend. And when I questioned him and I said, I didn't even know Chabad had went to IVCRC, and I was like, oh, Chabad is looking to get some funding for Mega Shabbat. And he said, great, they already came to us. If they want more, tell them to come. Like, this is the most perfect use of student fees, in my opinion. Like, it is something that is coming from the students, for the students. Necessary things are being funded, and like I said, we all trust, like it has been said, we all trust David Sim in providing, like, allocating funds of their committee, and I think this does set a really bad precedent that we can go in and alter these funds in other committees when it's, in my opinion, going beyond the purview of the Senate. Personally, I believe that we should have the trust and faith in the chairs of the committees that we have confirmed to chair.
Senator.
So my understanding, this is like religious service. So what kind of interest would
non-Jewish assistant students have attendance event? How would it serve regardless?
Turns up his own privilege. I'm so sorry to my speak up, please. I'm so sleepy. I couldn't really hear clearly.
My question is, so this night, I'm just clarifying, this is a religious service event. So what interest would non-Jewish UC students have in attending this?
Okay. I think the biggest thing is community. We have, not have, welcome, host a lot of non-Jewish students. And we have been to Chabad, and we have fed him before. Yeah, this is not just open to Jewish students, anyone can come. It's a free meal and a great time. A lot of homeless individuals have come in to Chabad and we've served them. A lot of just students looking for meal and a community to stay with. A lot of the neighbors of Chabad have come. Yeah, you don't just have to be Jewish, it's open to anyone in the community.
Senator Lola?
Yeah, look, I understand the concern of seeing kind of an eye gouging cost, I understand that. But Senator Steve, and I also get the reason behind the question that every cent that we're supposed to spend ought to be towards events or initiatives that serve the entire student body, but it is obviously in part for religious service, but it's also has a clear cultural and community that I mentioned too. And I was just speaking to Senator Moisula today actually about, I personally, you know, from my father's side, Muslim through generations, I'm not practicing Muslim, but love to show up to Ramadan event. I think the same kind of thinking applies to both. But to get back to the cost issue, Chair, would you mind if I just have a few questions to the finance chair just to get a clearer picture? I think of what the Senate.
Yep.
Okay. So again, I understand 90K total looks maybe a little much on the face of it, but Ramadan's a month-long holiday. And you said generally, just as a history major, was garbage at math. How much of that amount to at the end of the month? Because you said it would be 600 per day.
6,000.
6,000 per day. 6,000 per day. So how would that be?
32,000 close to the festival.
So those get to 186 today by the end of the month. How did that work?
We just, they only request 5 days.
For 5 days of the 30.
Point of order.
So there's, and,
There's been a point of order made. Yes, what's your point of order?
If he's not prepared to ask this question, we have a discussion.
Yeah, okay, so, what I've now seen is that, I'm gonna allow like maybe 3-ish more discussions about it, but I'm gonna propose that, because we're still in a discussion on a motion, I'm gonna propose that, Senator Lankarani, amend this motion to vote to overturn this by via hand vote or even a secret ballot, because it's seeming like there is a lot of back and forth.
I would have.
Point of order, you have to be ready to check.
Senator Lala?
Thank you. Just I think it's important to not leave it off on a note that I didn't intend for it to be left off at. I am not trying to compare the two. I'm trying to make the point that both are entirely valid and should be funded. I'm not trying to build the chasm between the two.
Right.
Exact opposite. What I'm getting to is there some kind of counter proposal what you guys would want to see? Is there a different figure? Because the only option that seems viable to me is to just keep it as is. And on a more informal note, just ask senators, you could ask the people who appeal for this funding to be like, yo, reconsider how much this would be in a future case. But as Senator Joe was saying, precedent is huge. Never done this before. It would have to be a pretty drastic reason.
Okay, I'm setting a timer. I'm giving us 15 more minutes. Not even that, 10 minutes? 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes. And then we're moving on to something else. Not this, or voting in 5 minutes. Senator Iden.
Okay, everyone, just the last point I really feel that needs to be made. Committees have the prerogative to fund organizations that they feel aligned to their mission statement. We are not a body that questions whether or not this is the organization that should be funded, we're the body that is. Does this follow all financial policies and procedures? If we went through this process with every single thing that we like, that's a lot of money. Not to throw gotcha racing out again, they get a lot of money, like, we're not gonna like continue questioning this, like, it's the committee's prerogative to fund this, and that is not our, responsibility to kind of. Get in between that and disrupt the flow or like a legislative process. So if they fund it, it's in financial policy procedures. We approve it. If there's ever an issue with like conflict of interest, that's different, but this is independent of that, in my understanding.
Senator Mean?
Senator,
Or more.
I'm gonna address this to you specifically because you're the one that made the motion. This is not 100% directed at you because you said that you weren't the one that came up with this idea to make the motion. You were just kind of told to make the motion. I want to ask why you're specifically targeting Shabbat at UCSB. This is a Shabbat event that's been happening for over 10 years now on this campus. Prices increase every year. We've seen that. We are living in a post-October 7th world where unfortunately we need security. And there has been security in the past, but it's never looked the way that it's needed to right now. I also want to add that 1,200 is a rough estimate. That's how many people have RSVP'd. We have homeless people come every year. Obviously, they aren't RSVP'd. There are people from the community that come just because they see it and they know that there are free food, so they come. People come with their friends that happen to be there that weekend. This is a rough number. There are so many more people that come. So, where did you get off asking for this specific number?
I'm not getting.
Senator Singh.
Oh, yeah, so just to address, Dr. Lawless point before, so MSA got 20K for attendance. That's serving 200 people.
Senator Malheed.
Also tying in what like some other senators said. So, Chabad has requested money from both finance and is it IVCRC, totaling up to 90K. The request at IVCRC is 30K for services such as waitressing, security, tables and chairs for like having their event, and none of which contradicts financial policy. However, some of their money that they've requested towards finance policy is still under finance committee is still under debate. What I'm saying is the money that they have under IVCRC doesn't contradict anything, and Senator Singh has already said that the chair is capable of making their own decision, and Senator Cindy said that even the chair offered them like as much money as they need for the event. So in that case, shouldn't it be fine for them to provide these services?
Senator Jacques.
Which I think both sides have said the argument. However, I have very pressed about voting method, and I'll be very upfront with it. It should have to be an open vote. We are making an unprecedented decision, and whether not you agree or disagree with, we all must face accountability from student body. And I'll be very clear. If the Senate decides to do a secret vote, I will boycott it. I will not be a part of it, unless it's an open vote. I yield.
We have 40 seconds left in this discussion. Senator Brennerson.
I'm good.
Senator, what are you doing?
Okay, great, awesome. I'll try to make this because we only have 40 seconds and stuff. But I just wanted to make some point of perspective of my multiple experience being like as a local leading community as well as a volunteer. Because I just think that as a perspective, this is important local arguments here. It's that most people, the majority of people are saying that the majority are invested in something that's not in our place to inform and funding. I was also the role of Senate is precisely to assess sometimes when it comes to allocations and business units. That's a request to trade and very attributed is in the rights to allocate as well as it's a little bit what the FTE committee was discussing a little bit about in regards to the past couple of data around estimated around 20K was used on behalf of FSA because it finance this, I would say, and the majority of loans, I think, about this experience, one of the few instances they're taking multiple years that we got ever actually funded. And the majority of time, I think the majority of FSA events, it was primarily funded out of student pocket or the 30 people to the funding loan. I would know that because I think I've never really fund these events most of the time. So this alone was just supported a certificate of completely alone. There's a bigger chunk of the field for the entirety of the market. And if we had 50 days of no to the business, we're going to be working on regulating the run. But not even just we put a loan probably estimated around not 6K, definitely around this out of pocket number 1 to 2K estimated. It's probably like sort of funding is probably much more that we've had organizations that have otherwise trying to fund support to organization that the seeing that from a perspective of that. I think that it's not just regarding the significance to support other like the community organization perspective. It's more to see that how we can use a lot of the funding in a more efficient way to how we can regard it as a difference in funds. We probably can for other than not just. But that is important perspective. Thank you for many years.
Thank you, Senator. My timer went off. I realized I didn't recognize someone on Zoom. Senator Siddiqui, would you still like to make an addition to this conversation?
No, it's okay. I think other senators said what I was going to say.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to propose that, you amend your motion. Or someone calls the question. We've been in this discussion for a very long time. We still have multiple things to go through. We also have to approve the minutes, approve the agenda, appointments, and full business. And it's a 1:18 in the morning, and I'm fatigued a lot. Senator Martinez. What question? The question has been called, and also I'm gonna make us do like a recorded vote too, just to let y'all know. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the public session?
Could the chair please remind me of the motion?
Right. The motion that was made. A motion to overturn the IVCRC. A motion to overturn the motion for the IVCRC to approve $32,550 for the mega Shabbat. And the motion was made, it was seconded, the question was just called. Is there an objection to the called question? Okay. Would you like to rescind your call the question? Would it be possible to? If you rescind your call the question, we go back into discussion. So if you want to discuss more, then you would rescind your call the question. Okay, we're in discussion. Senator?
I'm perfectly fine with both sides, but it's the first be amendable to amend the previous motion to be voted by hand votes. Or is that just overturning it?
Senator Martinez?
Thanks. Okay, so right now Mingjun is gonna be able to ask.
Can we speak up, please?
I will speak up. So right now Mingjun is gonna be able to discuss or ask Carly the question he wants to ask them, but I was just gonna say, before I had to step aside and talk about some things. I agree with what Iman said earlier with the fact that this is $90,000 going into one event, and while they already got this money from IVCRC, they got 30,000. They also got 50,000 from Finance Committee as well. And I feel like, again, as a lot of times we're putting a lot of pressure on our funding and et cetera, I feel like just like what Iman said, it'd be good to try to see if this funding can go a little bit more efficiently in other similar areas for example, like giving this funding toward other events that are gonna come later on in the year, et cetera. With that regards to a similar foundation of culture and the religion and et cetera. So I agree with what Carly was saying in the way that this is just 90, it's not even just 90, I think it's like $92,000.
It's
So,
82.
well, Ariman said 92 something earlier, so 95, so yeah.
Okay. Would you like to amend your motion?
I was 10K off, that's kind of large.
Yeah.
Senator Prasandi?
I would just like to make one thing clear. If this money does not get approved, this event does not happen. This is an unprecedented motion that we would be making as a Senate. And it would send, frankly, a really, really upsetting message to, I know, at least the Jewish community and beyond, to the entire UCSB community, that their cultural events frankly do not matter. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, this event will not happen. It's been happening for the past 10 years, over 10 years. We've explained everything, like, even beyond that, if you don't care about the Jewish community, do not care. I don't care if you don't care, but this sends a really bad message to the student community that, and even to the BCUs who we trust them to run their meetings, to approve funding. If they did not believe that this funding was appropriate enough to pass, they would have voted no. We entrust the IVCRC, we entrust the finance committee.
They're taking a point of such a religious.
Okay, I'll chat with them later, but I obviously am not speculating on any of you guys' intentions or anything like that.
You did
You
once.
kinda are.
You,
Okay, I'm
you
sorry.
did
I'm
twice
sorry.
now
Excuse
in your
me.
statement.
Okay, that, excuse me,
Can I continue?
Yep, I am giving you a warning.
Thank you, sorry. I would like to apologize if I speculated on anyone's intent. I'm simply stating the message that this would be received. And the unprecedentedness of this. Yes.
Thank you. Senator Singh. Okay, and then also, I'm recognizing 3 more people and then, yeah, but we're also still in discussion on a motion, so.
Yeah,
Senator Singh.
Yes. As has been brought up before, this is a completely unprecedented thing to happen. Although the money allocated to Shabbat has doubled since last year. Last year, the total was about 44K, today's 95. It still is up to my committee and up to IVCRC on how we spend our money. We are both confident enough to realize that we have to save our money and that we have to look at the future. And we always keep that in mind. And we did have conversations with Shabbat when they came to us. We were like, how can you make this cheaper? We were like, can you do this instead of that, this instead of that? And we do that with everybody as well. This was a unanimous decision by 12 people that had all the facts that this Senate does not have right now. Right? You guys weren't there when they were making the presentation. You guys were not there when we were asking them and we were grilling them. On every single line item, there were about 100. And every single thing, we were like, how do you justify this? So my recommendation today is let it go. It's really not worth it at all. It's first off, it's unprecedented. Number 2, committees have autonomy. We are free to allocate our money how we wish to do so without Senate interfering. The entire reason Senate is there to catch our mistakes. Okay, mistakes like, oh, if we allocate something that breaks policy or breaks our legal code. That's when the Senate is supposed to step in, when we did 2 weeks ago with CAB. Overturning this, it's a decision made by, a unanimous decision made by many, many people. 12 people in my committee and about like 15 in IVCRC. And my committee has a surplus of money right now. We're just looking at ways to spend all of our money. And this is something that we saw was beneficial to students on this campus. Yeah, so just let it go. Not that worth it. I said I wasn't gonna get involved. But I guess I have to. I'm supposed to stay impartial, but it's not that way. Are you?
Senator Ganesh. I have no prerogative to stay impartial and I would still say let it go. It's an event, it's famously been happening, it's a big number of people, they feed people. We don't have to have any kind of feelings about it. They came to people for money. They had a right to come. People decided to give them money. They have a right to do that. Senate, there's a reason Senate is structured like this. We can't go around micromanaging every minute, every funding decisions. If there was a policy break like CAB or SCORE or anything, I would agree, but I generally think this battle is not worth fighting. And if Senator Lankani was here, I would actually ask them to like reconsider their motion. And I think we just sit ducks before they come back.
I will be.
Hi, everyone. Hee hee. One, I think it's really important to question any event that suddenly costs double the amount than it did in past years. Which is why I raised concerns to senators about this matter. As one of probably 3 people in this entire room that actually reads through all of the minutes that we receive every single week, I think it's like it is within our power as Senate to question why groups are spending egregious amounts of money on a niche event. And I've been to one of the events in the past, and I saw the amount of people it fed, but even in our trips, in our policy, we've kind of came to an understanding that we allocate a certain amount of money per person, one being for food and another being for light refreshments. We've seen that in our trips. We've communicated that also with like BCUs and like their events and how much money is spent on food. What's concerning to me is that for such a large amount of money, there was no line items provided as to why that amount of money is needed. If an organization is coming to us for tens of thousands of dollars from multiple streaming like forms, and also not going to the organization that is dedicated to supporting that community, that is going to raise flags for me. As the chair of the Senate and also as supervisor of BCUs. I wanted to ask, why is our Jewish Commission not directly financially supporting this event? If it is meant to uplift the community and support the community, why are our own BCU that is dedicated to uplifting Jewish people and creating a platform for Jewish students on campus, why are they not supporting this event? Why is instead going to different funding platforms? Why is there no detailed line items as to what is being spent on? Because at the end of the day, it is tens of thousands of dollars nearing 6 digits. And I feel like that is concerning. We are constantly talking about how students are going through housing crises, which we realize we can't control. We are nitpicking like how food bank spends their money on what, making them come in to do the presentation for 50K. That's fine. I feel like that's great because it puts us all in equal understanding of like what they're doing moving forward. But if a RCO is coming to us for tens of thousands of dollars, and the organization that is supposed to be supporting them isn't doing that, that is going to raise flags. At the end of the day, this is not about identity politics. This is strictly about funding. And that is why I rose this concern to senators. If any other organization were doing it, I would still raise the same concerns. And at the end of the day, if all this money is being spent on one day, that's concerning to me. I do also want to know, like, is this organization putting any educational events? Are they supporting our academic community in any type of way aside from, I also have concerns because we have specific policies about how much we're allowed to spend on entertainment, how much we're allowed to spend on food. And there's just not enough information there to make it clear as to how this money is being allocated and why it is being spent so freely just based off of the principle that it was in the past. I think spending 2 times the amount on an event this year Yeah,
Or, like incorrect, you're saying it's double. That's, I'm sorry, point of order, not point of information, you said double, it's not. So
okay.
is that who-
I was told, I just heard last year was 44K and this year it is 92.
It was 80 last.
Sure, go ahead.
Finish with your point of order and then.
My point of order is just that, say the correct number, it's not double, so I'm just asking that you correct it, because again, it's not double.
I'm going based off of the information that was provided by Senator Singh.
My point of order is that you're.
You're not called on my.
Can we just wait till they finish completely and then I'll recognize you. And then you can completely give your.
I have the numbers. Double is incorrect. I'm asking you to take that out of what you're saying, because it's wrong.
Can you give me the correct
Okay,
information?
We've been talking about this for quite a while. We're still in a discussion. And, yeah, I'm just recommending, we still have other deep conversations to get to. So I'm just saying, if you guys want to continue with this, you know, it's already 1:30, but Senator Brenderson.
I think, I mean, I don't wanna see this event canceled, and I think when Senator Grisanti said that this money isn't passed, we canceled, that's obviously a concern. We need to pass it just for that reason. But I think we need to establish, and I think this conversation does establish that big funding things like this, red flags, you know, why is the Jewish Commission not more involved with this, is concerning, and I think a point that David brought up in his report was that he had $200,000 that he expected to have been spent already. So where was that outreach? You know, why is all this money now available when it wasn't equitably distributed previously in the year, or you know, why, you know, David wants to get rid of this money, so it's gonna go to whoever has first, who has that knowledge of where that money is. And then, you know, I think we should approve it, get home, good night. But I would like to ask the finance chair, how common is it for people to ask for tens of thousands from two different AS funding sources?
Senator Singh?
For any other RCO, I would say it's not common at all. For Chabad, it is pretty common. And the reason why I said 52,000 last year is because, or no, 44 last year is because going through IVCRC's minutes from last year, they requested 12,500, and from finance, it was 32,000. Those are the amounts from last year, and so when you add them up, you compare it with today's or this year's number, it is double.
Attorney General?
I say with what IVP brought up regarding no line items, so they are asking funding for security, radars, sound system rental, tables and chairs rental, and cleaning hub. Thing with this, it could be a variable amount, it's not a fixed amount, maybe that's why they did not provide exact numbers. It's like maximum it would be 32,550, but this just gives them more flexibility, but like they can choose what they want to spend more money on. So like if they have to spend more money on cleaning, they don't really have to come back and reallocate it and get it approved. All of this, these line items were approved. They are following our policies, and as long as they are signing contracts to get it approved by the interim executive director, it should be fine. Are you?
There were additional motions made on the Senate floor when I was a member of the Assembly last year that increased that funding size. I do not know the number, but it was made in Finance Committee as well on the Senate floor. Those came from Senate and Finance, but Finance Committee's budget, that Finance. Are you?
Thank you. Senator Sue?
So can we call the question now?
Oh, I actually have a question for the Attorney General. Since the person who made the motion isn't here right now, can I move on? No?
When the motion is made and there's second,
Yeah.
apply to the motion. The motion now belongs to the assembly, the body. Motion, the person is not needed necessarily to be here for the motion to proceed. So it can proceed fine.
Understood.
If you call the question, it's still a hand vote, no?
Yeah,
So
we're still gonna
if you
vote
just call
on
the
it
question,
regardless.
vote it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Alternatively, the second can withdraw their second, motion dies, we can change the.
Okay, cool. Let me go back to the motion. Oh, where's Senator Martinez? Neither of them. Neither of them are here.
Are we allowed as senators to say that?
She has a point of inquiry.
Okay.
Here's this
Are we allowed as senators to say that we can like approve something under the implications of something? Like, we can approve these minutes, but like say that, like, in
Like a
terms of
spec, like a speculation, like a.
yes, like, let's say, I know the finance committee, they had a lot of line items and we had them explain everything. We can say the same
A
thing.
stipulation.
Yeah, under the stipulation that in IVRC that they like talk about all their line items and go through everything and then find it once that like.
You definitely can make a motion with that stipulation. Great point of information, but just currently right now, no, because we are in a discussion for a different motion. Senators and the first and second are not here, so we can't ask them to attend. Yeah.
I have a very creative solution, so I can make a motion to amend the motion made. For instance, I can amend the previous motion to say blue sky is blue. And so agrees that that's the motion, and then we can vote on that. Alternatively, we can just vote on the motion.
We can take.
Okay. Senator Jacques.
I move to amend the previous motion to state sky is blue.
It's not the time for jokes.
It's serious.
There's been a motion to amend the previous motion to state the sky is blue.
Sky is blue.
The sky is blue.
Sky is blue.
Seconded by Senator Sandy, we're now in discussion. Senator Bernison, the question has been called. Is there an objection to the called question?
Consent.
Any objection to the consent? Motion passes. Okay, anyways, Senator Jacques. Yeah, we're now in discussion of the new motion that the sky is blue. Is it? Is it not?
The sky outside is obviously that, so I tried some consequential and we deny it.
Senator Iden? The question has been called.
Objection.
Is there an objection to the called question? Is there an objection to the consent?
I object to the consent.
You object, huh?
I object to the consent.
What are you doing?
No, we can't really pass a motion, essentially.
Senator Jacques,
We can't really pass a motion saying sky is blue. We have to take a vote and make it fair, and the whole thing goes away.
right,
Or-
and so it's gone. Okay, so we're, that's gone. I'm gonna sky blue. Okay, hold on, sorry. I also have to take notes because no one's taking notes right now. Sky blue.
You really told the sky is blue. We're gonna throw this fucking at the butt. Joyce, you did not hear that.
Anyways, we're in minutes and allocations. I'm proposing someone approve the minutes. Yes.
I don't believe we have voted on the previous motion, so we are starting the discussion of the motion, sky is blue.
Point of information. The motion that sky is blue was made on, Ale was not the second. Anya is the second. So we cannot ask.
What is your question?
My point of inquiry is that can we not ask the second to just like
Yeah.
withdraw and
The
then
second or the first is not here.
Amna's here, Amna's the second.
Would you like to Yes. Okay, cool. We're still in minutes. Senator Persandi,
Motion to bundle and approve all minutes and allocations except what, didn't we get rid of score?
yeah, right.
Okay, except score,
Score slash consent.
2/27.
Motion, there's been a motion to bundle and approve all minutes and allocations except seconded.
Second.
We're now in discussion. Senator Ganesh, call the question. Can someone, who wants to take notes right now? How will
Consent?
don't have the did anyone call the question?
Yeah.
Okay, is there an objection to the call the question?
Consent.
Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passed.
Oh my God, you guys are all
Okay.
welcome to come to Mega Shabbat.
We're-
For Deltonia, food, I'm hosting a table,
Hey,
technically.
hold on,
I'm so sorry.
we're in old business. I'm going into the, active allocation. Yeah. Yep, I'm accepting any motions to possibly open.
Guys, let's speed run the show.
Senator Iden,
Motion to open the act allocation.
there's been a motion to open the Active Allocation Act. Is there a second, Senator Lala?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lala. We're now in discussion. Senator Chaudhry. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call of questions? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. The Active Allocation Act in old business, or the new business, my apologies, and new business is now open. Senator Iden. And then also, I'm literally gonna share with you the agenda so you can put in that motion. Senator Iden.
Yeah. Like I'm just sleeping.
Motion to pass, the listed, the yes, no motion, vote for Article 5 on the agenda.
There's been a motion to pass the yes, no motion. Vote for the article, five amendment. Seconded by Senator Jha. We're now in discussion. Senator Ganesh, call the question. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call of question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, I'm gonna have us vote on this. Hands up for yes. Seventeen yeses. Hands up for no. Hands up for abstention. Yes, Senator Iden. Yeah, would you like to close it? Senator Iden.
Motion to close the active allocation.
There's been a motion to close the Active Allocation Act. Is there a second? Senator Dolly? Seconded by Senator Dolly. We're now in discussion. Senator Malise? The question has been called. Is there an objection to the called question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, the motion has passed. Senator Iden,
Motion to vote on the rest, motion to vote on the active allocation.
there's been a motion to vote on the Active Allocation Act. Is there a second? Senator Kadal? Seconded by Senator Kadal. For now in discussion. Senator, Chaudhry. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Huh? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Hands up for yeses. Seventeen yeses. Hands up for no.
Oh, sorry.
That's a no, no. Any no's? Andrew says. One. Oh. Zero no. Abstentions?
I just thought, I said yeah.
I could revoke. We're currently voting on the Active Allocation Act. We opened it and passed the yes, no vote for this article amendment. We can revote, hands up for yeses on a motion to pass or to vote on the Active Allocation Act. Yes on allocation. Yeah. Anyone? No? Abstentions? At pass. Senator Iden?
Like, we have 26 people at the beginning of this meeting. Really big second.
Yeah, I'm counting Zoom.
Some people are.
Yeah. Well, also people aren't being here during. the vote. That's good. Okay, what's your? It's a new business, right?
We already voted on.
We did that?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Senator Jacques?
Senator Chair, we're producing this report to read this.
Yeah, let's move into old business.
Hey, Chair.
Specifically, Senator Jacques?
A motion to accept the revisions made to the resolution to update Article 9 of the Associated Student Constitution, motion to.
Okay. There's been a motion to accept the revisions made to resolution to update Article 9 of the. Yeah, Article 9 of the Associated Students Constitution version 2. Is there a second? Senator Wahigala, is that a second? We're now in discussion. Chaudhry, Senator Chaudhry. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call to question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, I'm gonna have us do a hand. Hands up for yes.
Actually, only accept the revision, but now most of the times.
Oh, right. So the revisions have been accepted. Senator Jacques.
I move to vote on the resolution to update Article 9 of the Associated Student Constitution, motion to by hand vote.
Right. So there's been a motion to vote on a resolution to update Article 9 of the Associated Students Constitution version 2. Senator Brenderson, would you like to second?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, by hand vote. Seconded by Senator Brenderson. We're now in discussion. Senator Chaudhry? The question has been called. Is there an objection to the called question? Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none. Hands up for yes. And yes. Hands up for no. Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, now let's go into, appointments. Or is old business done?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do old business. Appointments, yeah, that's what I said, appointments. Senator Jha.
Let me see.
No.
Okay, I'm going to use it.
Give you some time, no, take your time.
That's fine. I will express first. I move to bundle and approve appointments with the exception of appointments with to scale.
Right. There's been a point.
A motion to bundle and approve all appointments with the
What about,
exception.
what about,
With the exception of appointments with to scale.
could you amend it to appointments, and removals?
Yeah. Yes, I said it.
Okay, there's been a motion to bundle and approve all appointments and removals with an exception of scores. Is there a second, Senator Brenderson? Seconded by Senator Brenderson. We're now in discussion. Senator Ganesh.
As liaison chair, I would recommend that you follow your motion with the reasoning so that the chair of SCORE, the existing chair of SCORE, Cecilia Aiden, knows why or what's up or something.
I will try that for Mr.
You know, because, you know, they've been making minutes and motions thinking that they have an appointment in the bag. And the reason they think so is because we haven't communicated that they don't have an appointment in the bag, in fact. And if we don't want to pull a 74th Senate where we don't communicate to our BCUs, we should communicate to our BCUs. You are 74th Senate. Oh, no. Why did you do that?
Okay, we're in appointment.
Question to chair.
Yes.
Well, the chair allow me to make some general remarks on the philosophy of AI's governance with respect to personal management.
Yes, if it's just more of like an at-broad thing. Yeah, right. Yes, of course.
Right.
We're our past parliamentarians. Yeah.
I will invite all members of Senate to discussion on philosophy, which is as an association. How much is too much? How much leadership is too much? So Senate have never, I've talked with real staff, have never denied an appointment. Just it never happened. Even the 31st minute, which was a very contentious year, our appointments gets. So if we do anything, it will be very out of ordinary and be a source of news. On the other hand, in my experience of EES, I haven't encountered a situation where one individual holds two children within different VCU. So that's unprecedented as well. So my question is the next. Is, well, are we going to make the president today? Two children is too much. That's my question to you. Yeah.
Sure.
What do you think is the best way to communicate with this BCU about this?
I told great applications to houses, but we should send out lots of it first. I mean, if the city choose creation is good enough, we can just bother comparison. So let's agree on lots of it first. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Senator Siddiqui.
Yeah, I want to say a few things. So I think to go off what Senator Ganesh was saying, And what Senator Zaw was saying, when it comes to philosophy, obviously it's within the president's power to nominate whoever they want to lead the BCUs, and it's in our power to provide the advice and consent and then confirm. That's pretty set in stone. However, the way we do it matters, right? The way we use that power and enforce that power is what determines the characteristics of our Senate and our legislative body. And um, we're not allowed to discuss anything that was discussed in closed session and open session, as a reminder to all senators. But if we are going to table this appointment, there should be some sort of description. The description can say because of matters pertaining to closed session. It can say because of an ongoing inquiry or investigation by the Student Advocate General's office. But it just seems to me that it's right that there should be some sort of communication. I mean, if we put ourselves in the perspective of this person, regardless of what we think they've done or regardless of what they have done, factually, legally, nothing has been proven in a court of law. And in their eyes, they are assuming that this chairship is in the bag. I think that some sort of consultation is necessary. And then also going back to Senator Zaw's point about having people hold two simultaneous chairships, I think that's not a precedent that the Senate should set in general. I think it's up to the president to nominate. If they want to nominate someone to lead two BCUs, I think they're empowered to do that. Last year, I was the internal head of staff for the EVPSA and I was the chair of code. If you consider head of staff being equivalent to a chairship, I got paid chairship honoraria for both. And I think I did both fantastically. So I don't think even from a performance standpoint, we should prevent people to want to do multiple chairships.
Senator Ganesh?
Given that I cannot discuss closed session, when this BCU comes to me and is like, hey bestie, what up? What can I say? In that I want to inform them to my best ability, and yet I don't want to break Robert's rules and go to jail. So are we in closed session? No, but the matter pertains to closed session.
So should someone, motion to enter closed session?
Yes. Woo.
Senator Ganesh?
I don't think we need to enter closed session. I just want the Senate to advise me as liaison chair on how to advise SCORE's existing chair, CC Aiden, when she's like,
Well, nothing has happened yet. And the motion was withdrawn. We're still in appointments. And what you should do to her right now is tell her there shouldn't be someone who's in your minutes who's not appointed to your board. And especially in a chair position. So as of right now, you can tell her whatever, nothing has happened yet. We can come to terms what we can say together or give you an outcome after a decision has been made, but right now nothing has happened. We're in appointments. Senator John.
I have two motion, but is that really person that's good enough? Yeah, I move to accept the nomination of under Office of Controller as Rec Committee, Admin and Rules Committee, Transfer Student Lives, Laboratory Commission, the nomination and removal. And Office of Controller, as Rec Committee, Admin and Rules Committee, Transfer Student Alliance, Laboratory Commission, Office of Internal Vice President, and Senior Standing Committee of Finance.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think too, because the motion was like basically the same thing, except we just didn't state that we were doing that. What I think we should do is, go into closed session. I think we should go into closed session and then exit closed session, make the motions. In closed session, we can discuss, how we can, if we make the motion, how we can go about then telling, you know, the people affected about that, but I think we need to enter a closed session. And as soon as we do that, and then with that done, then we can make all the motions and then, instead of trying to beat around the bush. Senator John.
I move into a closed session pursuant to personnel matters.
Who are you inviting?
I'm inviting Austin Process Director for
Community Affairs, Student Development and Leadership.
that's and all his staff. It's not about the Secretary General. That's it, okay.
Okay,
I'm writing it.
so there's been a motion to, enter into a closed session regarding personal matters, inviting the director for community affairs and engagement, student engagement.
Student Development and Leadership.
Student development and leadership, there we go.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Senators, proxies, AS staff, which includes, the attorney general.
Yes.
Does AS staff include opinion?
AS staff. Sorry, I got it.
I'll stay here.
He works in the,
Oh, Senate coordinator also.
Point of order. It would have, the language would have to be Senate staff. Attorney General is not included in AS staff. Senator Zaw separately included the Attorney General in the motion language.
would you like to amend your motion?
Let's go to this motion to write. Motion to enter closed session, inviting alternate processes, as city staff, as career staff, and Attorney General.
Correct. Motion's been amended to enter a closed session. Discuss personal matters, inviting senators, proxies, Senate staff. AS career staff. And the attorney generals. No, you don't have to send it. Yeah. You don't have to put Senate meeting for it. He's a part of Senate. Senator Brenderson, would you like to second? Seconded by Senator Brenderson. We're now in discussion. Senator Martinez. Call the question. The question has been called. Is there an objection to the call of question? Is there an objection to the consent? Okay, seeing none, motion passes. We're in closed discussion now, please. Close your computers. Yep.
So, freshly that fast, but
Wait.
Wait, hold on.
All right, I'm sorry, Marissa, I'm sorry.
Holly's not here. Let me make sure we're not streaming still.
Thank you.
Actually, you know what?